What defines a true leader? It is not the crowd that follows them, but the solitude they choose. Power does not come from applause. It comes from the silence of being unbeatable, independent, and fully free. The weak cling to the need for approval, the comfort of friends, and false loyalties. They are not leaders. They are slaves to others' opinions, incapable of making a decision without validation from others. True leaders, however, master solitude because they know that it is in this emptiness that true strength is built. Machiavelli knew. Those who depend on others are puppets, disposable pieces on the board. But the solitary one, the one who bows to no one, is an unbeatable force, free to crush anyone who dares to challenge them, unafraid of being unpopular, unhesitant to sever any tie that weakens them. Power is not about being followed. It is about being immune to the need for acceptance. And those who cling to others, to the comfort of approval, are simply condemning themselves to mediocrity. Do you have the courage to cut these chains and become truly free? Or will you continue crawling behind the validation of others like a doormat? True power is forged in solitude and silence. If you haven't understood this yet, you are already lost. Ladies and gentlemen, allow me to be direct and unsettling. Power is not in the crowds. It is born in solitude. Yes, you heard that right. Great leaders, the ones who shape the fate of empires, ideas, and civilizations, are not forged in the spotlight of cameras or the warmth of applause, but in the crushing silence of solitude. Today, we will dive deep into a secret that few dare admit. True strength comes from within, from the space where the world falls silent and you, at last, find yourself. Nietzsche wrote, "He who looks into himself learns about himself," and he was absolutely right. Solitude is not a punishment. It is a forging laboratory where the souls of true leaders are refined, strengthened, and made invincible. While the weak seek external validation, the truly strong know that the only approval that matters is their own. And here is the key. True power requires distance. Distance from others' opinions, from the haste of society, and from the distractions of daily life. Without this distance, you are doomed to be destroyed by external expectations and pressures. Think for a moment. The world is a constant scream. We are bombarded by external voices, criticism, advice, judgments. Every word, every glance has the power to divert our attention and weaken our confidence. But in solitude, these voices fall silent. And in that deep silence, the true leader finds clarity and inner strength to move forward. Machiavelli, in his cruel lucidity, reminds us, men forget more easily the death of their father than the loss of their inheritance. What he is telling us is that loyalty is a game of interests. When you need support the most, those you consider allies may vanish. Great leaders know this. They do not depend on others, for they understand that it is a fatal weakness. Solitude, on the other hand, is what strengthens and protects them. But let's go beyond this brief analysis. Solitude is not just a refuge, it is a school where we learn to master our own fears, doubts, and desires. In it, we are forced to confront who we truly are, without masks or excuses. This experience can be brutal, but also transformative. Being surrounded by people may seem comfortable, but it is in this environment that fragility begins to grow. You start adjusting your decisions to please, to avoid conflicts, to maintain a false harmony. And when you do this, you lose control of yourself. The pursuit of approval is the antithesis of true power. Weak people seek company because they are afraid to face their own insecurities, to confront their flaws and inner demons. They fear solitude, for it demands brutal courage. But true leaders are not afraid of solitude. They embrace it. They understand that in this silence they find their strength, clarity, and purpose. A historical example. Look at Mahatma Gandhi. During his time in South Africa, he spent long periods isolated, reading philosophical and religious texts that would shape his vision of peaceful resistance. These moments of solitude were crucial in developing his unwavering conviction. He knew that, to lead millions, he first needed to lead himself. And this leadership required space to think, question, and refine his ideas. But beware, solitude does not mean being isolated. It is not about cutting all ties. It is not about living in a distant cave. The true leader strategically steps away from the world to focus, to reflect, to recalibrate. They know when to withdraw, but also when to act. They use solitude as a tool of power, not as a permanent refuge. Consider figures like Winston Churchill, who frequently withdrew for long periods of reflection during World War II, or Steve Jobs, who retreated into the silence of meditation to make crucial decisions. These men did not seek social validation, but rather a deep connection with their own purpose. They knew that power does not lie in always being connected, but in knowing when to disconnect. A modern perspective. In the digital age where we are constantly connected to social networks and the endless flow of information, solitude has become a rare and precious skill. Studies show that an overload of external stimuli diminishes our ability to focus and be creative. In contrast, intentional periods of disconnection allow our brains to reorganize complex thoughts and generate original insights. People like J.K. Rowling, author of the Harry Potter series, credit part of their success to solitary writing moments in cafes or libraries, where they could deeply immerse themselves in their imagination without distractions. In the game of power, self-sufficiency is the only true weapon. Those who depend on others are always vulnerable. Those who trust only in themselves are invincible. Solitude teaches the leader to trust in their own vision, their own decisions, and to cultivate the internal discipline needed to lead with integrity. Nietzsche said, "The superior man must govern the inferiors, but to govern others, you must first govern yourself." And this is only possible in solitude, where external distractions do not undermine your self-discipline. Additional historical examples. Consider Leonardo da Vinci, whose masterpieces emerged from years of introspection and solitary experimentation. He was known for isolating himself in his studio, studying human anatomy, mechanics, and art. His journals reveal a man deeply committed to the pursuit of knowledge, often alone but always driven by insatiable curiosity. Similarly, Thomas Edison, despite being surrounded by a team of assistants, reserved hours each day to work alone on his projects. He knew that innovation required solitude to test ideas without interference. Solitude is not just a practical tool, it also has deep spiritual dimensions. Many religious traditions value isolation as a means of achieving enlightenment or communion with the divine. Jesus Christ, for example, frequently withdrew to isolated mountains to pray and meditate. Buddha renounced material comforts and spent years in solitary meditation before achieving spiritual awakening. These examples highlight something crucial. Solitude can be both a path to self-knowledge and transcendence. It allows us to transcend the limitations of the ego and access higher states of consciousness. For modern leaders, this means that solitude is not only about gaining earthly power, but also about cultivating wisdom and compassion. While I advocate the importance of solitude, there is a fascinating paradox here. The more time we spend with ourselves, the better we become at connecting with others. Solitude teaches us genuine empathy, for by understanding our own vulnerabilities, we become better equipped to understand those of others. Abraham Lincoln, known for his exceptional diplomatic skills, was someone who greatly valued his moments of introspection. He knew that, to unite a divided nation, he first needed to be at peace with himself. Therefore, solitude is not an end in itself, but a means to achieve something greater. the ability to lead with empathy, vision, and purpose. It helps us find our center, but it also prepares us to go out into the world with clarity and determination. Now, the reflection is yours. What will you choose? To seek the company and approval of the crowds, or to become independent and forge your own strength in silence?